You can do the intro because I can't remember what it was.
It does help to know the podcast name of the podcast that we're doing. And with that, hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Lift Shit Get Banged podcast. It's been a while since we've recorded, so we're feeling a little bit rusty today, guys. And you'll notice that we're in a different location as well. We're actually in
the madhouse.
In the madhouse in Ben's farm.
In the farm. Got my 2 cats, Oreo and Pudding, off to the right of us, and the puppy Romeo.
Hopefully they join us at some point during the episode. Yeah. But we're back, and there's so many exciting things that we want to talk to you guys about. We are halfway through Blitz Your Bits 14.
Is it week 4?
Week 4. You guys are all just settling in, which is really cool to see.
Last one of the year.
Mm-hmm. And we've also got lots of new one-to-one guys who have recently joined us. And it has inspired the conversation that we want to have today, which is all about settling into the gym for your very first week and what to expect as a complete gym virgin, what to focus on and what to not focus on.
Yeah, we get a lot of, should it feel like this? Should my body be sore? Should I, if we don't experience any soreness, should I be sore? And I think we get a lot of questions, obviously, because it's a new experience around what's normal. So hopefully today we'll shine a bit of light on how it should feel. It makes sense to start with what should we expect to focus on in that first couple of gym sessions. And I know we're very much aligned on this in that we will say to our guys, we just want you to experience the gym. We don't care about the specifics. We will obviously guide our clients on what on earth is a rep range and how do I pick what's a good weight to pick. And we obviously give guidance on that, but we just want you guys to soak in the gym environment, start experiencing what the gym looks like and feels like and what all of the different strange equipment does.
Yeah.
And that is by far the most important thing in the first week.
I remember walking into the gym probably for the first time and thinking that every single piece of equipment looks like a spaceship. And I know that loads of you guys feel the same and you're looking at equipment like, what the hell is this? Now, in week 1 of working with us, we will give you a training program. And all we want you to do in those first few sessions is kind of work out where the machines are, kind of work out how you're going to set them up, and think loosely about how the exercise feels. Are you feeling it roughly in the right muscle? And if it doesn't feel perfect, that's okay, because we can tackle the ins and outs and specifics as you go through. But we want to keep it as simple as possible and just get on the machines.
And this is definitely a plug for the Bits app, because the video database that we have on there, it's Rachel's very digestible way of explaining it as well.
Yeah.
It cuts the fluff and the sciencey side of it. And Rachel will show you, this is what this machine is, this is how you move it, this is what it does, and this is roughly how we want it to feel. Because what sparked that thought was, if you look at the machine, and a lot of them will have an anatomy chart, and it normally shows like 5 or 6 different muscle groups that are potentially involved in that movement. Do not expect to feel it in every single muscle group. It can be quite confusing if you do the exercise. Look at that, like it's normally a man, isn't it? It's like a silhouette of a man with
little red
highlighted muscles
on.
If you don't feel it in all of those areas, it doesn't mean that it's wrong, which a form video, even if it's on YouTube, if it's not the Bits app, from someone you trust, I think is super, super helpful when you're starting in the gym. It gives you a reference point to try and copy. And I think something that gyms have missed a real trick on is why there isn't QR codes on machines.
I don't know.
Even to their PTs doing and I always thought PTs could then market themselves that way as well. So that's a real trick that I think has been missed, but
something we can keep in mind for the future. Something that can also feel intimidating walking into the gym is actually just knowing where the equipment is. Most gyms are divided into sections. So you will have the cardio section. You will have your free weights area, which is dumbbells and barbells. And you will also have a section for machines. They're not all like that, but most of commercial gyms are in that kind of format. The equipment might also be divided into upper body, lower body. Not all gyms do that, but some gyms do. So what you can do is either reference the training program that you are using or looking at the program on the Bits app. At the top it will say, or in the video it will say what muscles we are meant to be working. It will say if it is a machine or a dumbbell exercise, and you will then be able to locate roughly where that machine is or piece of equipment is. Something that's so valuable, especially if you're joining a new gym, is booking in for a gym induction, which are completely free. Mm-hmm. Most gyms will have someone on reception or an in-house PT. It's always worth looking at the website or asking in at reception if they do free inductions. Most gyms do, and booking in for a time. And what the purposes of that induction is to take you through where the equipment is and how to safely use those pieces of equipment. Because even with some of the demos that we've got in the app, which are so friggin' helpful, a lot of gyms are a little bit different and will have different bits of kit and different brands. So it might vary depending on where you are at. And it just will help you to have someone there to hold your hand for that very first session, so you don't end up feeling like a complete tit, wondering how to adjust the seat on a particular machine.
Which we've both done.
Yeah, both done that.
We've both done.
Still do that.
Yep. If we go into random gyms or different gyms, it still happens.
Oh my God, yeah. I think that's the misconception, isn't it? That we know every piece of equipment. I still walk into a gym that I've never been to before and have no idea.
When I worked at Rochester Health Club,
what piece of kit
there was a piece of kit that I'd never seen before, and I'd worked there for 2-3 years, still didn't know what it did when I left.
I just recently changed gyms and they had a bit of a kit in there, and it was called a booty something. It was some kind of like glute machine, and it's basically a standing hip thrust. I've never seen one of those before. Not the most optimal movement pattern.
Is there like a back pad? Like, what do you brace against?
You don't. So you hold on and the pad goes across your hip. Completely doesn't work with gravity. It's a useless bit of kit. Yeah. I was looking at it and I was thinking, what the fuck is that? So yeah, get yourself a gym induction. You're not expected to know what the equipment is. Yeah. And that is what the instructors on the gym floor are there to help you with, and you've got the app, the Bits app, to support you with that as well. Just
quick bonus point to that as well is it gives you somebody who you then know at the gym. It gives you a familiar face when you walk in to be able to say hello to if you see them on the gym floor.
Say, help.
Yeah. If you see them on the gym floor, to go and say, what is this standing looking hip thrust? And obviously you probably wouldn't know what it is, but what on earth is that? How do I use it? And it gives you that person that can just be your go-to for in terms of building confidence in the gym. It just makes you feel a bit more comfortable knowing someone there and to be able to answer those questions. And 99.9% of gym instructors will be more than happy to help. A question that I get a lot in the first week is either, shouldn't I be feeling sore? Or, oh my God, Ben, is this normal? I've been taking ibuprofen every 4 hours for the last 3 days.
Can't sit down on the toilet.
And everyone's response to training is going to be slightly different. Some people are going to get super, super sore. Some people aren't going to get very sore at all. It also depends on what, people's perception of how hard pushing themselves actually is as well. Yes. There's so much that goes into it, but neither is really right or wrong. That soreness can be an indicator that we have trained hard and that we've trained intensely and trained close to failure, but isn't a must. You can have a super effective training session and not get sore at all. We can have a training session that wasn't particularly effective for building muscle or gaining strength and get ridiculously sore. The biggest driver of soreness is novelty, is just doing something for the first time. And obviously nothing is ever going to be as novel as the very first time we step foot in the gym. It is very normal if you get super sore from your first session, and I'm always reassuring clients it won't be like that for very long. That's not my expectation for them to experience that every week. And it's something that I'd love to see what you do with clients, but it's something that we look to just manage at a reasonable level so that, you know, our clients aren't trying to become the next Arnold.
Yeah.
They're just trying to move better and feel better. So we do obviously structure training cycles for clients and nudge them to train harder and make their training progressive. But once we get over that initial horrendous bit of soreness, we just want to manage it so that we're recovered by the next time we go and train.
In the first couple of weeks, this is also why it's important not to go full balls to wall with training super intensely and pushing weights up super heavy. Number one, because we want to focus on the form and technique anyway. That is going to be the most important part of what we are doing in the first couple of weeks, settling into the program, navigating the machines, make sure that we're training with good range of motion, that we're feeling things where we should be, but also so that you don't finish your first week feeling like you can't move and that you can't go in for your next session. As you go through your program, we will look at increasing intensity at points and working more closely with RPE and delving a little bit deeper into the technicalities. But in the very first 2 weeks, we don't want you worrying about that at all, and focusing on all the things that we just mentioned, as opposed to going in feeling like you have to leave your soul on the machine.
Comes later.
Yeah, that comes later. It does. So something that can feel quite scary is if you are intending to use a bit of equipment, you get there and someone's using it, or it's broken, or it's really busy, and for whatever reason you can't access that bit of equipment. The BITS app is set up for you to have alternatives for each exercise. So you will already notice in your programming, if you click on the exercise, you've got a drop down of alternatives that we recommend to you. So if you're using the BITS app, we do set you up for that so you're prepared. If you're not using the BITS app, well, unfortunately you don't have that feature, you should probably sign up. It's important to know that it doesn't matter too much if you are swapping out two similar movements to reciprocate the programmed exercise. So for example, if you are intending to do a leg press, a really great alternative for that exercise would be grabbing a dumbbell and doing some goblet squats. It's the same movement pattern. It may be easier to find a quiet corner to do it.
Yeah.
And do not stress if you are unable to follow the program exactly. Something else you can do is also just adjusting the order of the program.
Yeah.
So for example, if we've programmed you the leg press right at the beginning, there are people on the machine at the time, then simply leaving it to the end is also an option.
If you're finding that you're constantly having to change the order, like with clients, we might go 3-4 weeks in a row where the client says, I can't get on the bloody leg press, it's always taken, then we will permanently swap it. Again, with kind of the people that we work with at Henley Fitness, occasionally, especially later on in the journey, we really do dive into the specifics, but often the overarching goal of just moving better, building some strength, gaining some muscle, building some confidence off the back of that can be done in so many different ways. We really don't, especially early on, really don't have to get bogged down with the specifics. You know, we'll go in with the intention of sticking to the order because it's programmed in that way, but we'd rather have a session that flows better and feels good rather than waiting 10 minutes for equipment. We will always encourage people to be flexible, find an alternative. If you're doing it every week, just swap it permanently.
With gym etiquette, if you are worried about knowing how long somebody has left on a machine, it is so normal to go up to somebody, not whilst they're doing their set, just to clarify that out there, just so we can keep health and safety in mind. But as somebody is resting, to just politely ask, how many sets have you got left? So that's a really normal question. If you went up to somebody in the gym, they're not going to blink an eye. And gym etiquette, you know, don't hover around the machine looking like an impatient bunny, like waiting to get on there, but you can just keep a subtle eye on the machine, and then it gives you a little bit of guidance as to how long you're going to be waiting. That's such a normal thing to do.
And 9 times out of 10, they will say, would you like to work in while I rest? Or they'll give you a wave or give you a shout when they're done as well.
And working in means when somebody will do one set, and then whilst they are resting, you will do your set, and then you'll alternate between the two. And you might not feel confident to do that just yet, and that's fine. But that's also a really common way of sharing equipment in the gym.
And a bit like we said about the gym induction, you'd be surprised how doing little things like that, and it might take a little nudge to go and say that to someone, to ask how many sets they've got left, but can just, again, spark a conversation. And most people in the gym are a lot friendlier than we think.
Yeah.
And feel very similar to us. So it can spark a little gym friendship and create another familiar face, which just helps that process of settling into the gym.
And if you are listening to this and you are not yet one of our one-to-one clients and you're thinking, all of that sounds absolutely terrifying, that's what we're here for. Come and work with us, pop us through a message, send us a DM on Instagram, or get booked in on a call, and we can talk about some hurdles that you may be experiencing or anything that you are worried about, and we're here to support you along the way. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the
Lift Shit Get Banged podcast. I was telling Sophia, every time I search my own podcast, I get the name wrong and put Chat Shit Get Banged.
It's close enough.
It's close enough.
And we'll see you next week for episode 10. Bye.
See you later.